What makes an American woman? Kyle Richards thinks she knows, and she's brought it to a TV screen near you. Should you watch American Woman? We'll tell you in Pilot Reviews. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I love this song.
Me too.
I'm the only American woman in the room.
That's a true story.
That's true. Canadian. Yeah.
It's about me.
And it's so appropriate because pilot, first episode, liberation.
Yes.
It's a perfect
Yes.
song. Hey guys, welcome to Pilot Reviews. We'll review only the pilot episodes of new shows. So we're not an after show. We are a pilot review shows. One and done, and then we move it forward. I'm Linda Antwi, and welcome. I have a great panel with me. You know this guy because he's,
Yes.
I had to
let Linda lead and moderate this week because the show is so female driven. It would have felt kind of gross if I was like, "Hey guys, I'm back." So Linda, I love having you steer the ship today.
Yay.
My name is Jeff.
Hello, guys. Sam Davidson here. So excited to talk about it.
And I'm DeAnJilo, as always.
So did you guys actually know the backstory to this before you watched it, or you went in blind?
Went in blind.
I read some stuff
Okay.
about it because I don't know if you could tell looking at me, but I'm a huge Alicia Silverstone fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I was excited about it and the story, and I love stories about Hollywood. So I did some research, but I'm not a Housewives person.
Okay.
Here's what I'll say. So our executive producer, Keven Undergaro, y'all know him. He has a show called The Tomorrow Show, and they've had a ton of housewives on. I'm a regular listener to The Tomorrow Show. They had Kyle Richards on like maybe half a year ago, and she was talking a lot about pre-pro for this. So if you're interested in some more scoop on this show, I would recommend you check out that interview because she got pretty candid. But that was all I knew was just based on that appearance.
Okay, awesome. Well, for our viewers and for our listeners, we're going to throw up the trailer and just have everyone on the same page so you can get your first reactions.
I want you to know the truth. A liar is the worst thing you can be. A stripper is also bad. Hello?
Hey, honey, listen, I'm stuck at work. We're having an emergency.
Really? You have emergencies in real estate?
I'm just gonna forget that this ever happened and just move on.
Yeah. I can't do that. Steve and I split up. How are you going to survive? I'm letting go of Julieta. What? Who's going to clean? I also fired the gardener. What? Who's going to garden? I need a job.
Try working twice as hard for half the recognition and a quarter of the pay.
I'll find a way to take care of my girls.
Mom, slow down.
But I haven't been out in years, so I am ready to have a good time.
I did not know there were this many beautiful people in the world.
You here alone? You swing?
Beg your pardon?
There are people doing things in these bedrooms that I did not know were possible. Look, they don't mind.
He's so sweet and attentive. There's just no spark. Could think it might not be his type. Well, what is his type?
I feel like you just woke up in someone else's life.
This is Hollywood. I feel like that every single day.
If you're gonna make it in this town, you're going to need some balls.
Is she with you? She's my friend.
Now that takes balls.
I like my life without you.
We are all stronger than we think we are.
You know, women can start businesses.
Look at you. Why in the world would you let a girl like you go?
It was almost as if I had a mind of my own. Strap yourself in, it's gonna get rough.
Okay.
I will say that's one of the best trailers I've seen in quite some time for
It's a great
television.
trailer.
Very, very entertaining. So, premiered June 7th on Paramount. And so, overall thoughts?
Let's start with Sam because we should go ladies first, and then Bree also watched it. So,
Really? We
yeah.
should? Are we doing that every week now?
Well, guys, I'm
Sorry,
trying to be.
Goodness gracious.
Okay.
This TV show done got her going.
I missed
riled
one
up.
week. I missed 1 week.
You know what? I think, like I said, that is one of the best trailers I've seen in a long time. So my expectations were very high, and then it ended, and I thought, that's it? How am I not supposed to? I do think this is a show that should probably be bingeable.
Yeah. Well, so do you want to binge it?
I will because I am an American woman and the storyline really resonates with me. I'm a big Alicia Silverstone fan and Mina Suvari. I find it fascinating. I will watch and I'm going to play for myself and I'm going to half play for other people just because I don't know what it holds. From the trailer, it seems like it's going to be good. But I didn't get that completely out of the first episode. What about you, D?
I can tell it's gonna be a good show, but in regards to the pilot, it wasn't perfect. It was kind of, the pacing was weird, but you can tell that like it has all the elements to be an excellent show. So it's for me a half play for myself and a play for other people.
I love how I created the half play.
Yes. It's funny. I'm not sure this was a very good pilot, but I liked it. It's like, I sometimes talk about like there's like the critic hat that I wear, but then there's also just like the TV viewer hat, and I feel like both are valid. I feel like if I'm trying to be nitpicky, this wasn't a great pilot. I don't think it was super funny. I'm not even sure the performances were really strong across the board, but I found myself really caring for the protagonist. And I mean, it's some of the smaller stuff like set design and costuming and atmosphere that I think really made, those were the strengths of the show. It kind of sometimes felt like a B+ version of Mad Men a little bit, thematically and in terms of tone, but that's okay. And I was like kind of hoping there'd be another one to watch. So I guess they did their job for me.
Yeah.
I liked it. My overall reaction was I had no idea what I was about to watch. And I loved the storyline. I loved that it was in the 1970s when it was female, like the second wave of like female empowerment. And I love the clothes and the hair. So they drew me in by the visual as well. So I'm going to be a play, and I'm going to be a play for everyone else as well.
Do you guys ever think about shows, though, when we did Godless, which I think, probably technically speaking, was a good show, but Westerns is not my thing. Female-driven, content is my thing. So there's also that part of me that's like, I can't tell if it's good or not.
Yeah, that's fair. But that's also like, that's the beauty of TV is you can make that choice,
Yeah,
like,
we have choices.
Yeah. Bree, I know you watched it. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Overall, I enjoyed it. There was a little bit of campiness to it that is not really my style or my tone, but overall, I thought it was decent. Like, I would be interested in watching another one.
Sorry, we're laughing at D. For those of you guys listening real quick, his mic cube is upside down. And we've been trying to tell him silently for 20 minutes to fix it.
Was that work?
And he started rotating his microphone. This is the joy of live TV. Bree, you were saying it's a little maybe too campy for you.
Yeah, it was just a little, like, where Mad Men kind of got the feminist point across in a much more realistic way. They felt like they were trying a little too hard for me in this campy-ish way, and it didn't sit right with me. But it didn't make it like a turn-off for me completely. So I'd be interested in watching more to see what it held, but I wasn't 100% into.
Yeah, I think it would just be so much. There's so many networks, especially with new shows that are with huge stars.
Yeah.
They released 2 episodes.
Yeah.
They should have done it, but they didn't.
I watched this with Bree, and I think we realized like it maybe is a bit heavy-handed of a show.
What do you mean by that?
Just like I feel like it was like, life is tough for this woman, and here are the reasons why, which is fine. That's what the show's trying to do. But per Bree, like, Mad Men is a little more subtle. Like, it'll address the same themes without, like, banging you over the head with it.
See, I need to be banged over the head. I don't like Mad Men.
Yeah, that's fair.
Too slow.
I think it's a great, like, summer show. Like, this feels like summer is the right time to release the show.
Well, I think it's interesting, too, because, and I would like to see how it develops on, but this is based off of, like we said, Kyle Richards' mother, who, her name was Kathleen, and she was AKA Big Kathy, and she was basically like a studio mom, but wealthy from Beverly Hills, right? So you guys know Kyle. If you didn't know her, she's from Housewives of Beverly Hills. She grew up as a child actor, so she took this whole crazy, unconventional life and now has created a comedy, quote unquote, about her upbringing. So I guess my question to you guys is, do you think it's really like the struggle if you're, a Beverly Hills child star?
Well, is it really our protagonist is her mom, right?
Right.
So I'm just trying to parse your question. Do you mean
because the mom I get leaves the dad, so that's the premise of the show, right? And she's raising these two daughters on her own. But if you know her actual real story, her children are child stars. So Kyle was in I can't remember, but some major show that I was like, wait a minute, she was a kid in this? Little House on the Prairie.
Oh wow.
To your question, I think that anywhere. I mean, there could be the happiest family in the poorest of places, but they have love and they're, happy. They might not have a lot, but they have each other. This family has each other also, but I feel like as a child having to go through all of that, I being completely transparent here, you guys all know me pretty well. I found out when I was really young that my dad was having an affair, and so it completely shaped my life, honestly, and changed it and changed the way I thought about things. So I completely felt for this family and especially for the girls.
Let's talk about the girls and let's talk about the actresses. So kind of like a blast from the past, heavy hitters, right?
Yes.
Based in the 70s, so I kind of like the irony there. Let's talk first about Alicia Silverstone. What do you guys think of her performance?
Well, she's my 90s gal, of course, but, she was Cher.
Yes. That's what Brie and I were talking about when we watched it.
I literally think there were certain lines, and I wish I wrote them down, but I didn't, that she said in Clueless. It was maybe a few words, but she said it, and she said it the same way. So, I mean, I'm comfortable. I'm happy.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. It's funny. I've never really seen her besides Clueless.
Me neither.
And Clueless is a very specific, that movie demands a very specific style of acting. A little theatrical, a little stagey, maybe pauses here and there that aren't necessary to naturalistic kind of acting. And I feel like those habits or maybe just that style of acting kind of bled into this character a little bit to the point where I was a little distracted here and there, but at the same time, I love the choice to make her the mom from a casting perspective because it's interesting. There's a podcast I listen to called Pop Culture Happy Hour, and they talk about how some actors have what they call cultural gravity, as in they carry something with them. So in the OJ show, the FX one, casting David Schwimmer as that lawyer, he has so much cultural gravity from Friends that you automatically see something from the 90s when he's on the show. So that helped inform the 90s. Yep. So with this, it's she carries so much cultural gravity as a stuck-up Beverly Hills kind of girl that it's kind of smart. As a viewer, you feel that when you're watching it.
And we haven't seen it in a long time, so it's not as though it's repetitive. What do you think, Dee?
Yeah, the acting was a little... I had to adjust my eyes because it wasn't super believable. From the kids to her to the husband, it was just something was off. But I didn't know if it was stylistically. I didn't know what it was. But I was
the writing.
Yeah, or the writing. Or something.
I think it was rushed. I was shocked to know it was a half-hour show.
Yeah, and it felt too short. Lay the foundation a little bit more for me because you have this is the major foundation for it. So you could have spent a little bit more time. I think it could be an hour show.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So I think it was 22 minutes.
Yeah, it was short.
It's almost if you're on your own network, it's, I don't know exactly.
It's Spike. So it used to be Spike.
Okay.
Paramount TV.
I see.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to now the Amazon half-hour show, Transparent.
And it's a full thing.
It's a full
and it
30.
Maybe is a 32.
Right.
Yeah.
So I almost felt like this might have sat a little better if it was just the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But
who knows?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the director development. So it was written and created by John Riegel and John Wells. Both are heavy hitters. So 30 Rock, The Comeback, Larry, The Bernie Mac Show, Super Fun Night, and then John with ER and West Wing and Shameless and The Company Men. So you got the heavy and you've got the comedy, and you've got both of them working on this show.
I'm assuming Kyle Richards, I don't know if it's from being on the Housewives franchise or how she has so much power and money to get those people to do this show. I do think the show should have been better given all of the people, now that you reminded me, that were involved in it. I do think it will get better. But isn't that crazy that this woman who she's executive producing the show, Kyle Richards, the first time out, gets all of these heavy hitters.
Well, she's a sister of a Hilton as well, right? So she's a heavy hitter family.
She's a sister of a Hilton?
Yeah, Kathy Hilton is her sister.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Fun fact or not, or a little bit of gossip, this show coming out has actually created some drama between the two sisters. So, yeah, there's a little family
I know.
drama happening here.
You just asked a great question and that you answered, and I had a thought. What were we just talking about? The tone. Yeah, sorry, guys. I think the show maybe didn't land exactly on either tone. I'm not sure it was quite funny enough, and I'm not sure it was quite dramatic enough.
Yeah, you're right.
I felt like it was kind of towing that middle line, and I feel like it should have leaned a little further into either tone, and I think it might have had I would have had a better idea of what the identity of the show was when I left it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting though, because I think we all agree that it wasn't perfect, but it was still enough for me to be like, oh, this is worth watching again. Mm-hmm. Which at the end of the day, I think is the goal of the pilot.
Yeah.
And they gave me enough to want to watch another episode.
He's not going to. He'll never do it unless we kidnap him and take him out to lunch.
He might.
To brunch, though.
Yes. To brunch.
And I was reading too, and I kind of believe it, that period TV is kind of difficult to pull off in today's day and age because everything is so futuristic and we're almost trained to watch it that way. So what do you think of it being a period piece in today's TV land?
I mean, I think that was we just talked about it. The setting, we believe I think they got the aesthetics of it down excellently. It was the other things that are kind of in question.
But are you interested in living there in your TV for the next little while?
I am.
In the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well,
I think... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that I don't watch the show because I see myself in it. I see it because I'm learning about a story that I maybe didn't experience or even thought about. That's what's intriguing to it for me. So my answer would be no.
I think that period TV right now is actually easier to do. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I think, is paving the way for things like that. But you could shoot it whenever you want and do not have to worry about it being relevant in today's culture.
Fair.
Yeah. Except at the same time, though, I do feel like if you're making a period piece, it's nice when it feels like it's relevant for today's culture.
Yeah.
I think Madmen really did that well.
This is still relevant to today's culture.
You're right.
Yeah, no, it is. But I mean, I'm talking about President Trump or whatever, because if this show was set in 2018, they'd be talking about all those things. And the fact that they're not, they could do this whenever. And I also wanted to say there's a show, and it's coming back for its last season, Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce. It's on Bravo. It's an hour-long show, but it's so similar to this.
Is it?
It's very, very similar, but it's set in present day. And I just kind of wish they would have taken the hour-long dramedy. That show does it very, very well.
Yeah. It should have maybe been an hour. I think that, to me, though, the period component is one of the strengths of the show, personally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think, because again, it's sometimes just as simple as it's fun to look at the hair and the costumes and, just kind of even the shag carpets. And I think maybe for where the show is lacking with some of the above the line stuff, it's doing pretty well, I think, with the production design and costuming. And I don't know, I love Boogie Nights and just kind of that. I sort of like that. So I think that was one of my things that I actually left really liking about the pilot. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you guys have said. So I think that the writing could be stronger, and I would love to see more female in the writers' room. So I just IMDb'd it, and there could be, I don't know, but it's all male writers. So and you've got all these strong female leads that are going to be girl empowerment and in the whole revolution.
That would make sense if that is what it was, because we have, Mina.
It's confusing because there's Mira Sorvino and then Mina Suvari.
This is Mina Suvari.
Yeah, and they're both Oscar-nominated actresses from the 90s.
Yeah, she's an amazing actress, and I was just thinking to myself, does she not have good material? What is happening? Because she could have been anyone.
Yeah, I just feel like, and if you guys know, because I don't, I just saw it on IMDb, but if you guys know there are female writers, let us know in the comments. I would love to know that.
It kind of felt a bit like how an all-male writer's room might write women a couple times.
Which is weird.
Yeah. It sort of was it's good. It's good to watch men at least approaching feminist themes. So, if we're talking about, looking for subtlety, maybe, a woman in the room could have like toned down. Like I feel like there was moments when it was like, I'm a woman and I'm gonna get mine, and like that feels like how a man would want to write a scene about feminism a little bit. I don't know if that makes sense. What I'm saying.
No,
that
totally
does.
makes sense, and
Yeah.
I want to see if I have that quote that I wrote down because that's exactly what.
Yeah. And what I'm interested in, as you look for that, Linda, is Paramount Network.
There it is.
Spike rebranded. I guess they're not trying to be.
It is completely upside down. I think it's weird.
Because, like, Spike, like, a year ago was, like, dude shows, dude shows, dude shows. That was their whole thing.
For a long time, they kind of were... Well, okay, so my first year at college, I interned at Comedy Central, which shared an office with Spike. And so I kind of had to work for both. And it was fascinating because they were a completely male network. And Comedy Central at the time was very male network also. And it was like they were both these male networks together and they shared an office.
Yeah. So it's just interesting because they must not at all be trying to do that anymore.
No, I looked at their slate of stuff because I downloaded the app on my Apple TV today and saw that it's all female stuff.
Wow.
But
Weird.
still male writers. So
Yeah.
they, I guess they have some stuff to work on.
Heathers is one of the next ones coming out.
Heathers.
Are they releasing Heathers?
Yeah, in July.
Good. That's good.
So yeah, just on that topic of male writers for female leads, which obviously can be done, but I'm just girl power shows interesting. Let that be a lesson to you girls. Never let a man intimidate you under any circumstances. You always have to stand up for yourself. I felt like that was like a very
on the nose.
Yeah, it was. And the backdrop of that, of her like getting out of her car for a car that's following her, was I don't know.
That scene was weird.
Yeah, that's what it was like super weird.
Yeah.
They should have tied that up at least in this. Not tied it up, but referenced it again at the end. And at the end of the episode, I'm sure they're going to revisit it later because it's too random to not make sense. But I get what you guys are saying about it being on the nose. I will say when my mom and I think I was around these girls' ages, and I love my dad, we're very close, but there was like a very nasty bad divorce, and all my mom ever said to me and my brother was not listening, don't never let a man walk all over you.
Yeah.
It's the last thing you'll do. Don't ever let them walk all over you. And I mean, it was very typical, but it did stay with me, and people are traumatic as hell.
Yeah.
They are.
Well, I mean, yeah, I like it overall. It's funny talking about it. Sometimes I feel like my mind will change a little bit, but it's like thematically, I'm here for it. Even if like the show's not perfect yet, like I am kind of interested in the journey of a 70s housewife finding feminism.
Yes. Yes. I have a fun fact for you guys that I found online and will become obvious too, but it's fun. So this show continues Mina's habit of appearing in projects with the word American in it. So can you think of one of her
American Beauty, of course.
Beauty, yeah. American Pie.
Oh, yeah.
American Virgin.
I haven't seen it.
American Horror Story.
Oh.
American Reunion.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I was going to say she's in
Welcome.
a few American Pie movies.
Isn't that crazy?
And she has the least American name I've ever heard in my life, too, which is funny.
I think she just wants to belong,
She just was belong.
Fun fact.
Huh.
So I think that we've covered everything. What do you guys feel?
Yeah.
Let's
we covered
do
it well.
our pilot score. And we're going to say
Not
Jeff.
to jump in, but before you guys do
Yes.
the pilot score, do you want to? I know Madmen was thrown around, but I want to like kind of give the people what shows would you recommend
Sure.
if you like that? Would you watch this one for?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mad Men is like obviously the first one that comes to mind. Maybe Mrs. Maisel a little bit. I mean, like
100%.
both shows are period shows that deal with cheating and finding your voice. So
Maisel does it better.
and the thing, it's like that's what I was thinking about when you mentioned Mrs. Maisel. When you stack those two shows up against each other, and granted, like Mrs. Maisel's one of the best shows that came out last year. Like it's gonna win every Emmy.
I'm like,
probably.
it's one of the best shows of all time.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's a little unfair. Like and Mad Men also. Like these are two of like very well written
Girlfriend's
That's the
Guide to
competition.
Divorce.
Okay, Girlfriend's Guide.
Yes, Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce. It's a great show. I love that show, and it's very similar from what I can see of the pilot episode.
And then maybe Rick and Morty too. I'm just kidding.
Family Guy.
Legion,
Family
that
Guy.
kind of thing. Just kidding. We're just kidding. Go watch Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce. If you do, you're probably going to like this
That, and then if you guys remember Boogie Nights, if you like that, then for sure you
show.
would
Sam
like this.
Davidson here wrote her thesis paper for graduation, 9.5 pages on Boogie Nights.
There you go.
I love it. So good.
After I committed, I was like, what did I do?
All right. Overall score of the pilot.
Of the pilot. Man, I wish I could do one for the show and one for the pilot, because my pilot review is gonna be lower. It'd be
Yeah.
like a 2.4. Yeah.
2.4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the show though.
I'm gonna say I'm a 3.1 and rising.
And we did a scale between 1 and 5, just if I hadn't thrown it out there.
I'm gonna 3 flat.
I'm gonna agree
She
with,
never likes your score.
there,
What's wrong with a 3? Can you explain?
I just don't know how this gets a 3 and that awful show got
Alone Together.
Yes.
We need to
Oh, what
let
other
go
shows
of
we
our
need to mention?
grudges with
Yeah.
each
I was
other.
gonna say I like.
We have an
Alone
intervention.
Together. I just liked it.
We've
okay?
missed other shows. We haven't mentioned The Mayor.
picked a
There's a
number.
mention there.
I almost did earlier.
I picked a number.
Linda, what?
My score is going to be 3.5.
Okay.
I
we're
was
really
gonna
good.
guess that.
Were you?
Nice.
You're starting to know me. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you do like our own pilot reviews, please do like, and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell another friend. Maybe on iTunes, give us a 5-star. I'm Linda Antwi. You can find me all over social media at Linda So Girly.
And I'm Jeff Graham, and you guys can find me on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham. It's been a long day. I'm a little loopy.
No crap. Okay. I'm Sam Davidson. You can find me at SamD43 on Twitter and Instagram. And just want to say, Linda, thank you for leading. You're going to be
Yes.
gone for a few weeks. You're going to be back,
We're going to
though.
miss
I will be
you.
back, though. I'll miss you guys.
Don't be alarmed.
I'm gonna
She
send-
will be
She'll
back.
be back.
I'll send pictures.
Yeah,
Yes, and I'm
please do.
DeAnJilo. You guys can hit me up on Twitter at DeAnJilo TV or on Instagram at DeAnJilo.
Awesome. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.